Wanted to talk a little bit in this segment about what the goals of the workshop are for on our end. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the National Science Foundation, that these workshops have been made possible in part by a grant from NSF. This grant is what has supported the Deliver project over the last 3+ years. I'll note that any opinions, findings, or conclusions or recommendations expressed in this material or as a result of this material are those of the authors. Looking at the past, we want to provide history and context. That's mostly what we're here to do today. Going forward, we want to map what the current state of vacuum technology education looks like in the U.S. And the final result out of all this will be a plan for growing and sustaining these programs going forward into the future. Our plan series, this, as I said, this is the first of 5. And you'll notice that each of them are going to come at this topic from a perspective of one of the stakeholders. Today, we're coming at it from a technical perspective, primarily from the perspective of an educational entity like Normandale Community College. Our second session will come from the perspective of a professional society. Then we'll look at the industry and R&D perspective. Then our fourth session will be a student Q&A panel where we'll get the students' perspective on where we are. And then our fifth and final session is where we'll try to tie all this together, look at what we've learned, and present at least a preliminary report of our key findings that would then be followed up with a formal report. In between these workshops, we have some assignments for you. Again, one of the most important things that we want to get out of these series of workshops is input and feedback from stakeholders. And we've got 3 basic assignments here. The one we'll introduce today will be a gap analysis, where we will look for you to help us identify some gaps and opportunities for vacuum technology education. Then we're going to do an impact analysis where we look more at the present and say, well, what impact have we had with the results over the last couple of years? And then the third and final assignment will be a brainstorming session where we use what we've learned over the previous workshops to start to put together a plan for the future. So we're especially looking forward to that student panel as well. So this gives you an idea of what the timeline for this series looks like. Session 1 is today. The first assignment, which we'll talk about a little later in the session, we're going to ask to have back in about 2 weeks. That'll give us enough time to compile some results, and we're looking at scheduling the second session in those last 2 weeks of October. Same thing, we'll have an assignment that'll be due 2 weeks after that session's over with. Then we're looking at the third session before the Thanksgiving holiday, sometime in early November. We'll break for the holidays. We'll come back in January with our student Q&A panel sometime in late January. We'll have our third assignment between the 4th and 5th session, and then we'll convene in early March for our final session, where we'll present some preliminary findings, and we're going to target a final formal report out in early April. So we have got a lot we want to accomplish here over the next couple of months, but we're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to seeing what you have to say. When we're done, there are things that you will get. Obviously, all of the slides that go into all these workshops will be available to you. We will have the recording of these sessions in place, final report that will be provided to you, and then we'll be compiling a list of those of you that participate in this. And it's our hope that one of the things that you'll get out of these series of workshops is a stronger network of peers and colleagues in the vacuum technology industry that you can call on going forward. All of these things will also be posted to the website that Sarah mentioned as well.